Your win rate is embarrassing, and that is exactly why today you are going to learn 5 defenses to win against e4 openings. You face the king's pawn constantly, because getting mated in 10 moves gets old, so you need a reliable repertoire to survive. You have to find concrete ways to fight back and take control of the center, right from move 1. First up, you are looking at the Scandinavian Defense. White starts the game by playing e4. You do not wait around. You immediately challenge them. You play d5. This forces the issue on move 1, making them react before they even get comfortable. Usually they accept the trade. E takes on d5. You snap it right back. Queen takes on d5. Now they want a free tempo on your active piece. They play knight to c3. They are attacking your queen, threatening to jump into the middle and ruin your day. Are you sweating yet? Because of that annoying threat, you just slide her to safety. The main idea is dropping back to a 5, keeping an eye on the center while dodging that knight on d5. You play queen to a 5. It looks a little weird bringing the queen out this early, but this setup is incredibly solid. They keep developing. They play knight to f3. You just match them piece for piece. You play knight to f6, grabbing more space in the middle. They play d4. Now you want your minor pieces active. You develop bishop to f5. They go bishop to c4. Notice how that bishop is staring down your weak pawn on f7. You have to blunt that diagonal right now before it turns into a nightmare. You play e6. Suddenly that pressure on f7 is completely dead. Your structure is a literal wall. Keeping the tension alive, they go bishop to d2. You keep the heat on the queen side. You go bishop to b4. Trying to get their king safe, they castle kingside. You bring out knight to c6. From here, your development is super smooth, and you are ready to castle long to c8. We're winding the board. Check out the incredibly solid Caro-Kann Defense. This is your go-to if you want a positional game without the early fireworks. You play c6. The entire point of this quiet little pawn move is prepping a massive central break. You want to push d5, fully backed up by the pawn on c6. Taking the full center, white plays d4. You execute your plan instantly. Your opponent is already bored. You play d5. They have a few ways to handle this tension in the middle of the board. They can push past to e5 or defend the center with a knight to c3 or d2. The most common response is the advance variation. They play e5. You need to get your light-squared bishop out before you lock the pawn chain. You develop bishop to f5. They play knight to f3. Now you shut the door. You play e6. Your pawn chain is now an absolute fortress. Resetting to the start. Let's explore the French defense. This setup is notoriously annoying for your opponent to crack. You play e6. White grabs the center immediately. They play d4. Similar to the Caro-Kann, you challenge the center right away. You play d5. The pawn structure creates a totally different kind of tension here. They play knight to c3. You play knight to f6. They play e5. That pawn kicks your knight, grabbing crucial space and threatening to take on f6 if you just sit there. Because of that threat, you have to reroute your piece. You play knight to d7. They play f4. Now comes the absolute core idea of the French. Time to cause some chaos. You strike with c5. You immediately attack the base of their pawn chain. You want to rip open the center and create counterplay before they can launch a kingside attack. Looking at the starting position, see what happens when you play e5. This is the most classical response in chess, fighting for the center directly and opening lines for your pieces. White plays knight to f3. Now you have to defend your pawn or launch a counterattack. This guy wants your pawn. You can play solid with d6, bring out the knight to c6, or strike back with the other knight to f6. The most standard move is to just defend the pawn. You bring out knight to c6, you develop a piece, defend the center, and wait to see what system they choose, whether it is the Ruy Lopez, the Italian, or the Scotch. It is flexible and fundamentally sound. Finally, resetting the board. Look at the absolute king of defenses, the Sicilian Defense. If you are in a must-win situation, this is the weapon of choice. You strike with c5. You immediately unbalance the position, fighting for the center with a flank pawn. This creates dynamic, asymmetrical positions where both sides have chances. white plays knight to f3. From here, the theory is vast, and you have plenty of options. You can steer the game into your preferred territory by developing the knight to c6 or controlling the center with d6. Either way, you are setting up for a complex, fighting game where the better player usually comes out on top. Mastering these lines will give you a massive edge. All right, that is it for today's look at these essential defenses. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more chess content.